I can't win for losing. No matter what I do, it is always some fuck shit, isn't it? All right, I'm gonna need a moment just to redo these frames. Wow, I didn't realize just how much of the frame was cut off. That's crazy. Lazy and crazy and crazy. No. There you go, sport. Right there. Move you here. Okay. So, real quick message before today's stream, now that the frames are fixed. Yeah, I really enjoyed yesterday's stream. It was amazing. It was very enlightening. I was able to share a lot of personal stuff about myself, and I was able to kind of take you guys on a journey full of ups and downs. And I stand by everything I said. But if I may backtrack for just 2.5 seconds, I wanted to point this out real quick, because as much as I loved playing Pokemon yesterday, I kind of wanted to play something a little different today. And I have my heart set on playing something that I've been putting off for ages. I wanted to play a little bit of Mass Effect. Unfortunately, there's this bullshit. I don't remember when I got this game or how I got this game. It could have been a gift. I could have bought it on sale. I don't know. But I don't do keyboard and mouse under any circumstance, point blank, period. Number one, I don't want to, and that should be enough. I don't have to justify myself to another human being on this planet. Number two, I grew up using a controller. I'm not acclimated to keyboard and mouse. Number three, the few times I have tried keyboard and mouse, there were two fundamental problems. Number one, I have pretty bad arthritis in my hands, so sitting here like this destroys not only my hands, but it destroys my wrists. Number two, I'm not able to keep up with the whole WSD thing with keyboard gaming. They forced us to take a computer class in school where we were supposed to learn like the home position for your hands on the keys. I was too dumb to keep up, so with all that being said, I'm just gonna wait until like the trilogy goes on sale, and I'm gonna snatch that up on Steam, and that's when we'll play Mass Effect. I hear Mass Effect is really good, so I'm really excited to play it. I've never heard anybody say anything remotely bad about Mass Effect. Hey, what's up? So with that being said, today we're kind of relegated to doing Pokemon Platinum again. I did my due diligence, guys. I tried. We were gonna play Mass Effect today, but there's no controller support, so that's out. Without further ado, let's get us started. Hello everyone and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off yesterday in Eterna Forest. We have the lovely Cheryl here who is going to keep our Pokemon healed. We have the Moss Stone here for evolving Eevee, but we don't have an Eevee with us at the moment. I suppose I could, I don't remember if I grabbed the Eevee that Bill gives you from Soul Silver. I'll check that later, and if we haven't grabbed that Eevee, we'll grab it. Either way, we have tons of, like, we actually have Eevee, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon. I just need to make eggs for Espeon and Umbreon. And then I guess I need to make a couple of more eggs for Leafeon and Glaceon as well. So I did sit up late last night working on Soul Silver. I've almost got all the starters evolved. I found all the unknown for the exception of the exclamation point and the question mark. I quickly, briefly, like just a flash, I saw something on Google about how apparently you couldn't get the exclamation point and question mark unknowns in Soul Silver. I don't know how true that is. I didn't verify that information. I know that we can get them in Platinum regardless, so we'll grab the 2 missing unknowns in Platinum if push comes to shove. Finally, you can watch the stream. What happened? So we're running into double. Turn that down just a bit. Might be a bit too loud. So in a turn of force, we're going to be running into double the Pokemons. It might be a little grindy, but I need to work on Bidoof's level. And I guess it's move pool as well. His move's sick. I'm not gonna lie. We ended up teaching Rock Smash to Bidoof. I would like to try my best to avoid just... I don't know. I don't want my Bidoof to just be an HM machine like everybody else does. I can't guarantee it won't happen. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. The time zones. Oh, did they finally shut down Internet Explorer? Well, it had been a long time coming. What do they use now? What does Microsoft have? Microsoft Edge? That's pretty much Internet Explorer just in disguise. Same program, different name, honestly. Got shut down in 2015. Oh, I'm way behind. That makes more sense, though. But yeah, like I said, I really wanted to play Mass Effect today. I've had that 2007 edition in my Steam library for ages. And if it doesn't have controller support, I can't do it. For all the reasons I listed earlier. I'm not doing keyboard and mouse. I am controller only. Yeah, you won't catch me using Microsoft Bing, that's for damn sure. You know what's funny to me? It's hard to imagine that a multi-billion-dollar corporation with tons of locations and office buildings full of employees aren't really self-aware enough to understand that nobody's using Bing. Nobody's using Bing. You are wasting your time. I promise, Microsoft. We out here using Google Chrome and Firefox and Safari and Opera. I do agree. PC gaming is peak. Not that I don't enjoy my Nintendo consoles, because I really do enjoy my Nintendo consoles, but I don't really get anything out of owning an Xbox or a PlayStation. I actually am not a big fan of Sony. I really kind of dislike Sony. Microsoft, I think, is okay. When Microsoft first came onto the gaming scene, I hated them with a passion. But that was a me problem, not a them problem. Over the years, I've kind of, changed my opinion on Microsoft. I think they're okay now. I definitely think it's too little too late with the Game Pass. Steam's got them beat in that department. Because, here's the thing. I'll give you an example. Power Wash Simulator. Power Wash Simulator is available on both Steam and Windows Gaming Live, whatever the hell it's called for PC. Now on the PC side, or on the Microsoft side, yes, you can outright just buy games. I give you that. But they're really kind of pushing the subscription service aspect of it. And homie, don't play that. I don't do subscription services. I buy to own. I don't do the monthly pay to rent thing. I'm not doing that. I don't do that. So obviously I'm gonna get it on Steam. You know? You'd have to be quite the mad lad not to get it on Steam. Again, like I said, I'm not vehemently against consoles. For some people, it's about ease of access. It's about not having the headache, you know, of like building a PC and what was that noise? Yes, for some people it's just easier to do console gaming. So I try my best not to shit on people who are, you know, on the console side. But because there are arguments to be made for both sides, you know, because a PC is only going to be good for like 5+ years at best. Now, typically in the past, a console usually had anywhere from a 5 to 6, 7 year life cycle, and then the new one came out. But the world kind of changed in a very fundamental way when the pandemic hit. Because, like, we should have had the Switch 2 years ago. I can't speak to Microsoft because they fucked up their naming convention it was so badly that I have no idea what Xbox consoles are which. I couldn't tell you. And of course, Sony's just doing Sony off in the corner. No original ideas, no original software, stealing the ideas of everybody else. Remember when the Wii Remote came out and Sony made that ridiculous controller with a ball of light on top that I couldn't stop laughing about? Yeah, I have zero respect for Sony whatsoever. To combat the DS and the GBA, they tried to make the PSP and the PS Vita. Both were just a catastrophe. Huge flops. Yeah, I have no respect for Sony whatsoever. But, yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, don't even bother searching on Bing. You're going to get a bunch of bullshit. Not that Google's not bullshit either. Google, years ago when Google first launched, people were still very much on the Yahoo bandwagon and Ask Jeeves, and people were a little unsure about Google at first because Google came out swinging saying, we're not corporate. We're not going to be bought. We can't be bought or sold. We're all about the search results and getting them to the people and remaining pure. I kid you not. That was Google's stance when it first released as a search engine. Look at her now. She's a dirty, filthy, slutty whore of her former self. Because anytime I Google something, it's just a fucking wall. Sponsored, 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 sponsored. All right, Bidoof, we're in a little bit of trouble here, buddy. You're poisoned, and I'm stuck using rollouts. Heal me, Chansey. Please don't heal. Oh, she's just healing herself. Oh, you bitch. Oh, all you did was heal yourself. No, not Bidoof. Oh, we missed. Don't faint, don't faint, don't faint, don't faint, don't faint, don't faint, don't faint. Oh, here we go. Let's see, a Pechirisu and a Silcoon. I'm gonna go with the bird. Egg bomb. Right, I'm going to focus my efforts on the Silcoon because we have the type advantage with Staravia. Like I was saying yesterday, though, I think I have a handle on my streaming schedule. I think we're going to go back to streaming around this time of day. We got a little sidetracked for a while. But, yeah, I saw Susan, last name I can't pronounce, did die recently of cancer. It could have been why she stepped down. I'm pretty sure it's more than likely why. You know, a lot of people gave Susan shit. I thought she did okay. We live in an era where people just bitch to hear themselves bitching. So it's... My only real critique of Susan as the CEO was she was the CEO of YouTube and had no fucking idea how YouTube worked. She didn't have a YouTube account of her own until right up at the end. I remember it was a big publicity stunt. They're like, oh, Susan now has her own YouTube channel. Like, it's the same with like Nintendo. You have a lot of old fogies who are in charge. And I don't even just mean boomers at this point. I mean people who are in their 80s plus who should have retired ages ago, but they're still just getting up and going to the office every day. They have no idea what people want. They have no idea how the industry has changed, especially, they don't even know how the industry has changed post 9/11, let alone post COVID. So it's not great. We really, really, really need these old people to step down and let a younger generation handle things. Yeah, I don't know anything about the new guy in charge. He removed dislikes, which was dumb. He changed the 2021 layout, which is perfect. Yeah. It is evolving! Need to get some sleep. We watch more. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's hard to stream at everybody's convenience. I want to. I wish I could help. Right, we will learn water gun. So we'll get rid of. We're never gonna use defense curl. I could probably start streaming a little bit earlier in the afternoon. The only thing, I was gonna stream when I first woke up this afternoon, but I ended up having to go to town and run errands and, you know, be a responsible grown up. But he removed the channel features channel. I haven't looked at the front page of YouTube in a long time because the way I do things is on Google Chrome. I have my subscriptions tab saved as a tab, and I have my YouTube Studio saved as a tab, and I never go to the front page of YouTube. Same for Twitch. I never go to the front page of Twitch because it's so incredibly cringe. I would die of cringe. I can't stand the layout of the homepage of Twitch. I can't stand the annoying, loud, screechy people that's on the front page of Twitch all the time. I can't handle it. It just makes me too mad and too cringe. So my tab on Google Chrome for Twitch, it just takes me directly to my channel. And then the people I'm following are over here in the top corner. So if somebody I want to watch is live, I can just click on it, not ever having to go to the front page. Now, I tell you something I did do despite all that. Because every once in a blue moon, I do find myself on YouTube's front page. And oh my God, I can't begin to tell you how much I hate shorts. So I actually installed an extension on Chrome that completely blocks entirely. Like, I never see shorts now. Shorts are extremely annoying. The featured channel tab is gone. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at that in a while. I have to take your word for it. In other news, if you guys are in the, I know you're in the Discord, but some other people might not be. People watching this in the future on YouTube might not be in the Discord. Found out yesterday my CPAP machine, the thing I need to not die, has been recalled. Apparently some of the parts in it can cause cancer. I love that for me. But I went to their website and you register your serial number and it'll tell you whether it's one of the defective models that's being recalled or not. Mine turned out to be defective after I entered the serial number. They gave me two options: monetary compensation or a replacement device. Naturally, I chose the replacement device. A CPAP machine is it's similar to an oxygen machine. You wear it over your mouth when you sleep, and the machine regulates your breathing because it's to help deal with sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is when you just stop breathing in your sleep. You stop breathing for whatever reason. Other forms of sleep apnea include like severe, like super severe snoring, which eventually can cause a lot of damage to a lot of your throat and your windpipes. It can also, over enough period of time, it can cause cancer in and of itself if untreated. It is definitely, there are chances of having sleep apnea go through the roof when you're fat and obese and you're a heavy person, but there are a shit ton of skinny people and just average people who also have sleep apnea. So it's not something that you can really control just by like eating healthy and exercising, you know, and being on top of your game. You could have any one random Joe in reality can have sleep apnea, and it sucks. And what really sucks about it is that it's a pain in the asshole to do anything about, because for one, we live in the United States where, you know, they tell you to go fuck yourself if anything's wrong with you. So for those of us who don't have insurance, we can't get the sleep study done. Well, sleep apnea technically has to be diagnosed. What they'll do is they'll have you come to their lab and you'll sleep overnight, and they'll put a bunch of shit on you and test you like you're in a movie. They'll stick all this stuff all over your body. They'll monitor your sleep, and they'll monitor how many times you stop breathing, have labored breathing. They'll, you know, measure the cycles. They'll gather a lot of data, and they'll look at it and see if you have sleep apnea. The way you can tell without the sleep study is if you wake up a lot, if you toss and turn a lot, if you have snoring problems, if you have little to no energy during the day, if you feel like you haven't been getting a lot of sleep, if you have abnormally long periods of no dreams. There's just so many ways you can tell if you have sleep apnea. Now, as far as I know, it's mostly an adult thing. I don't know if it affects like younger people. I have no earthly idea. I also don't know how it affects the elderly. All I know is that like in the middle part, like from your 30s to your 50s, that is the section that I know about. I don't know if elderly people have to take extra steps when they have it. I don't know how that works. I know that their bodies are frail as shit. But no, sleep apnea is a son of a bitch, because you could sleep for 16 hours a day and still feel like you've only slept 2 hours. So it sucks. I honestly don't know, because it's not like it's more of a condition. It's not like a disease, you know, it's not like a virus. It's not something we can go in and treat with pills, or it's not something that can really be medicated. The only way, as far as I know, to deal with sleep apnea is with the breathing machine while you sleep. I don't know. That's one of those things you probably have to Google. I'm gonna give up trying to learn curse. I was fortunate enough to get my CPAP machine from a family member. They had been diagnosed with it. And a lot of people are lazy too. A lot of people will get diagnosed with it, get the CPAP machine, get sick of using it because it is a pain in the ass. It's very cumbersome to use, and they'll just stop using it. So somebody we knew had one that they haven't used in ages, so they let me have it. For the last few years, I've been using it. And last night, here's something funny too. Last night, I tried sleeping without the CPAP machine for the first time in years. Well, not years. Back when I had COVID, I couldn't use it because my lungs were so riddled with COVID. And I couldn't really breathe or sleep right anyway. But I tried sleeping without the CPAP last night, and I honestly thought I was going to die. I kept waking up, not breathing, and it was causing the weirdest, gnarly nightmare dreams. I kept jolting awake. My body recognized that I had stopped breathing and kind of jolted me awake so that I would start breathing again. It's left me with a terrible headache today, so I'm dealing with that pain in the ass too. But there's a lot of other dangers that go with it too. See, it's not just about the cessation of breathing in your sleep. It can cause stroke, it can cause heart attack, it can cause tissue damage, organ damage. You're looking at a whole monster. It's funny because people don't talk about CPAP because it's not like cancer or diabetes, but sleep apnea, not CPAP. Sleep apnea is a son of a bitch. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. If you don't have it, can you get it? Oh, yeah. Wait, I read that already. Yeah, you can just acquire it one day. And like I said, when you don't take care of yourself, obviously your risks go up. Like when you're obese, you don't eat right, you never exercise, because your lungs do get weak. Like exercising's not necessarily just about building muscle. There are a lot of little subtleties to everyday activity. So the old adage of if you don't use it, you lose it. That's very much true of any muscle in the body. Muscles deteriorate and atrophy the longer they're not used. The lungs are the same way. So if you don't walk a lot, you don't ever do any running, your lungs are going to be considerably weaker. And that's what's killed. It may be one of the higher causes of death throughout humanity's history, because you always hear about people, oh, they died of pneumonia, and you're just like, how? Well, they probably never exercised, their lungs were incredibly weak, and they just couldn't power through being full of liquid. Especially elderly people. That's what gets you when you're elderly, is the fact that your lungs are already weak, and then you get the common cold and you're dead. I'd keep that up if I were you. One of my larger regrets in life is not having exercised on a regular basis. So when I do exercise, it feels like I am being beat up by a transformer. But yeah, well, all that being said, apparently the CPAP machine was recalled. They told me I could get a replacement unit, so that's what I'm working on now. I'm supposed to hear back from them in 3 days, at which point I guess I got to fill out a form or something, probably. It's going to be a whole process, but I can't just stop using the machine that I have now. Walking is about all I can do anymore. Back in the 20-teens, I used to go to the gym. I was never like a weightlifter. I played around with lifting weights, but I never got into like muscle building. But that a lot of that was just because my buddy at the time was super into weightlifting and like muscle building and stuff. Like he even wanted to go to like competitions and stuff. I think he did at one point, but he'd go to the gym and I'd go to the gym. You can't do squats. I feel if I tried to do a single squat, I would hit the floor and not get back up. You don't do squats when you're in your 30s. My knees are toast. Walking upstairs is a nightmare. The pain in my knees, you couldn't possibly imagine. But lately, I am trying to be more active. I'm trying to move more and stay on the go. Because I've been unkind to my body for a lot of years. You know, I've been very slothful. I've sat around eating a lot of junk. I've just not taken care of myself. And I only have myself to blame, honestly. I mean, I got a bunch of bullshit I could blame it on, but... I do need to get back into trying to do stuff like that, though. Just casual exercising, just to keep the blood moving, just to keep things, you know, going. Couldn't hurt. Walking is probably one of the more invaluable exercises anybody can do because it's basic, it doesn't require a lot of effort, and it's so good for you. So good for you. But at this point, my little health journey that I'm starting is more about like mitigating the damage that I've done and trying to deal with the fallout from all of it, from years of like neglect and being a couch potato. And I'm just gonna have to work extra hard at this point to get back to where I need to be. But it's worth it. It'll pay off in time. I used to have the mentality of let's make giant overnight changes. That was foolish. It's all about making small, permanent changes over time, you know. But young me was stupid. But that caught me so off guard. How does a CPAP machine cause cancer? It's more or less just a machine that pumps oxygen into your lungs while you're asleep. I mean, obviously it does more than that. It regulates the pressure. It regulates how much oxygen. It has sensors to detect when you stopped breathing. It does more than just an oxygen, but like it's weird. How can that little machine cause cancer? Something about like the parts they used. I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm saying. Like, do what you can is always the key. You know, just every day do a little bit, and when you plateau, maybe do a little more. It's common sense, really. Just my dumb ass. It's one of those cliches everybody makes fun of. When you're young, you think you're invincible because your body bounces back. You could jump out a 2-story window, slam onto the pavement, break absolutely nothing, and get up and walk away. You ain't doing that at 50. You will die. So when you're young, you're very cocky. You think you're going to last forever. You think you're invincible, especially teenagers. And we all did it. Everybody does it. I did it. Everybody does it. Like you don't think about the consequences that you're going to face 10, 20 years down the road. You're just like, I'm invincible. Watch me smash all these beers, eat this entire pizza, and then go out and play football and get brain damage. I'm lucky. I managed to get through my youth with hardly any brain damage and ambulance. I don't want to use tackle. You know what? I'm tired of fighting wild Pokemon. We've done some grinding while we've been talking. We got Bidoof evolved into Bibarel. We got it going on. Let's fight some trainers and start moving this along, shall we? Ooh. Meditite and Psyduck. Bibs. Alright, Bibs, let's go with Roulette. Hopefully that Meditite is too low level to have any psychic attacks. I'm hoping. Your Pokemon has battled hard and has returned to you. I went out and tossed a bunch of Pokemon in gyms. We got a guy in our group trying to get the platinum medal for winning 4,000 gym. Yeah, battling. I don't know if it's, I think it may be just battling in gyms, or it might be winning your battle in gyms. I don't remember which, but he's working on that badge. So once a day when I go to town, I'm trying to put in as many gyms as I can so he can knock them out, and it counts towards his badge progression. They've added Gigantamax and Dynamax to Pokemon Go, and I don't quite know how it works yet. I haven't, it's a brand new feature that just rolled out today. I noticed that there are Dynamax spots, and you go to the spot and you collect the energy, but I don't know the mechanics. I have no earthly idea how the function's gonna work. I'm excited for it though. I'm glad that it's not just another bullshit like I was very disappointed with the way they handled the Ultra Beast in Pokemon Go. They just treated them like raid Pokemon. You know, ooh, it's not a raid egg hatching, it's an Ultra Wormhole. They're still just raids, my man. You know, whoever's in charge at Niantic. We need a fundamental change. We need a new mechanic that's completely and radically different from any of the mechanics that have existed in the game before. You know, we're getting bored. And it looks like Dynamax and Gigantamax may just do that. They may give us something new, fun, and exciting. So I'm looking forward to getting out there and experiencing that the best I can. Since autumn is coming up, it couldn't have happened at a better time, because I would very much like to get out and do some walking and take in the crisp autumn air, or at least be able to walk without it being 102 degrees, and enjoy the foliage. As always, one of my favorite parts about autumn is the colors of the leaves. But pretty optimistic at the moment about, you know, getting out and trying to play Pokemon Go again. The only thing that really sucks is that when I permanently left Facebook recently, as I've said a million times, I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it, but bear in mind there are other people watching this as a VOD later on YouTube. Since I left Facebook, I'm not in my group chat anymore that I've been in for like, I don't know, 7 years. Right, this Psyduck's being a dick. So I can't communicate with them through Facebook Messenger. I've been trying to get them all to use Campfire. Campfire is the communication app that Niantic made to go along with their games. So if you're playing the Harry Potter game, Pokemon Ingress, Monster Hunter Now, whatever other games Niantic has made, you can communicate with people using the Campfire app. It works it works more or less the same. It's like a combination of Discord and Facebook Messenger, just without the voice chat. So it's nice. I think Campfire is a really good idea. I think it's a handful of years too late, but I think it's a good idea. Because I do have friends, you know, that I've made through social media. Like back in the day, I might be scrolling on Twitter. I'll see somebody saying, hey, I desperately need friends. This new research task I have says make X amount of new friends. And I would add that person. And now they've been on my Pokemon Go friend list for years. Now we're lucky friends, but I'm in the US and they're over there on Mars. And I don't have any way of communicating with them. Because in Pokemon Go, there's no in-game communication system in Pokemon Go. So, you know, that's been the fundamental problem now for a lot of people for many years of Pokemon Go, is you don't have a way to trade and really cash in on the lucky friend thing, because you don't have a way to communicate with your friend list. With Campfire, you do. If you go into the Campfire app, you can actually send messages to the people on your friends list, and you can cash in. Of course, you still can't trade in Pokemon Go unless you're standing right next to each other, which is the stupidest fucking thing in reality. Niantic, fuck you. I hate you. You ruined Pokemon Go. Ruined. But since I haven't been chatting with the group on Facebook, I've been desperately trying to get them to use Campfire, but nobody's using Campfire, which has got me feeling, you know, pretty lonesome, pretty depressed about the whole thing, honestly. So it's looking more and more like if I do get back into Pokemon Go, I might be doing it by myself. The old chateau, they say it's haunted. I think we've reached the end of the woods. The Soothe Bell, that might come in handy. Depends on who we need to evolve. Well, we've spent 40 minutes in the woods. Okay, let's take a look at our team. 17, 17, 17, 16. All right. You're going to the top of the list. Wait. Why couldn't I battle the first guy? Fisherman Joseph. Yosef. Spurk. Of course, autumn has always been my favorite season. Halloween is my absolute favorite holiday. Chris died like after a week. Threads failed to take off and launch. And I think a lot of that is because there's surprisingly a lot of people who are just anti-Instagram and anti-Facebook or Meta or whatever they want to call themselves. But Threads has had kind of a mini resurgence now thanks to Jackass running Twitter into the ground. They recently banned Twitter in Brazil, just outright, the entire country. And it looks like the majority of Brazilians may have flocked to Blue Sky instead of Threads, which I kind of went, "Aw, that doesn't help me and what I do here." That's going to make it difficult. Like, ideally, there are two thoughts on this. Number one, you want as many people on one platform as possible, but also you don't. And I'll explain. It's, you need healthy competition to keep these companies in check, or else they will like go full evil and fuck you over. They're already 99% evil, but that 1% is there because they know that a competitor could easily swipe them, you know, sweep them under the table if they're not careful. But when you don't have a competitor and you're allowed to just like dominate everything, and that's what Meta's doing. Meta is just, they keep acquiring more and more apps, more and more websites and stuff. And so I think there are definitely a lot of people who are like anti that, so they wouldn't use Threads, so they went to Blue Sky instead. And I'll admit, I tried to make Blue Sky work, but I found Blue Sky incredibly annoying. One of the other things that kind of fucked Blue Sky is the fact that you can't, Eric Cartman, I own a theme park and you can't come way of doing things really screwed them over. The only way you could get into Blue Sky for the longest was through an invite code. That really fucked them over. They should not have done that. But I don't know anything about Rumble. I don't watch Rumble, or I can't remember even what Rumble even is. I want to say Rumble is a video hosting website like YouTube, but I think that's where all like the Nazis are, just like BitChute and some of the other platforms. Don't go to BitChute. That is nothing but toxic Nazi garbage over there. And I want to say Rumble's the same way. Yeah, the one way to kill your platform is definitely allowing politics. And he thinks he's Uptown Jim Brown. You know, he bought Twitter because he couldn't stand the fact that people were telling it like it was. He was tired of people making fun of him. He was basically like a 7-year-old on the playground. Everybody's making fun of me. Daddy, buy the playground so I can make the rules where they can't. That's exactly what it was. If you think about him, And I know I refuse to say his name. You can in chat, that's fine, but his name won't leave my lips. He doesn't deserve that. He's beneath me. He is the scum underneath my shoe. I wouldn't wipe my ass with him. But yeah, think about it like that. He's a 7-year-old that's getting bullied on the playground, so he tells Rich Daddy to buy the playground so that he could set all the rules. And then he sets all the rules, and as long as you brown nose and suck up to him, you're allowed to break the rules and do whatever you want. Oh, he didn't make Tesla. Tesla existed. He bought into it. Make no mistake, that man has never created a thing in his life. He is a con man. And I'm not even going to say allegedly. Looking right here, sue me if you want to, jackass. You are a con man. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His daddy was rich. They owned diamond mines in Africa. So that's already blood money right there. That's already a shit ton of moral failings right there. A shit ton of illegal stuff right there. And his entire life, he has struggled to be popular. He struggled to be, no, he didn't. He ran Tesla into the ground. 2 seconds of Googling, because obviously you don't always want to take my word for it. I'm just a guy on the internet. The information is like public. Anybody can just look this up. And again, I'm not just talking to you only. I'm talking to anybody who might be watching. You don't even have to take my word for it. That's the beauty of this. That's another one of the reasons he bought Twitter, is because he was trying to stop the spread of information about himself. He was so scared people were going to learn stuff. He actually tried to have certain images of himself removed from the internet. You hear about that every once in a while. You hear a celebrity who's like, I don't like this picture of me. I'm going to use my influence to have it removed. No, honey, sweetie, that's not how the internet works. Well, yeah. And see, I don't want to shit on that either, because that's like your opinion and I respect it. I hate the Cybertruck. I think it's ugly, but I also know that everybody has their own taste, and it's unfair for me to shit on somebody who does like it. So I'm not going to do that. But no, that man has never created anything in his life. He's never invented anything in his life. SpaceX already existed. Tesla already existed. They were pre-existing companies that he bought into. He's never founded anything. He's never started anything. He's constantly lied to investors over the years. He's constantly lied to the public over the years. He likes to tout himself as a pseudo-intellectual science inventor man. Again, like Nikola Tesla and them. He wants you to perceive him in a way that does not, it just isn't reality. Like, his entire existence is a big delusion. And he spends millions of dollars making sure that ignorant people who don't know all the stuff he's done, bad stuff that he's done, will like him. It's the same as Tate. You know, you have a lot of young men who don't know any better. So they get on the internet and they listen to these quote unquote influential men of power. And they hear them speak. And because they might be going through a tough time in their life, or they might have issues with their own like self-worth or self-confidence, it sounds good to their ears. So what you have is a whole swath of young men who are misguided and being fed bullshit. And it just really doesn't do them any favors following that, because for one, Tate's a rapist. Number two, he's a sex trafficker. Number three, his misogyny knows no bounds. And that's just the top 3 on the list off the top of my head. I could go on and on and on about that raving jackass. But if there's one thing that's super important in today's society, it's like trying to reach out to young men and guide them in a way to where they're still allowed to make their own decisions, obviously. And, you know, you want to be careful when you're trying to help young people. You don't want to say, this is de facto the truth. You want people to discover who they are for themselves. You really want people to like discover things out in the world on their own. But at the same time, you have to be very careful and guide people away from men like them, because they're very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing that you didn't like him before. I hope that most people are a good judge of character and don't like him. The same with Alex Jones. He doesn't care about any of the politics that comes out of his mouth. He just gets on his show and he raves about aliens and all this stuff. And he doesn't believe a word of anything that comes out of his mouth. It's one giant grift. He's trying to sell you the supplements that are for sale on his website. Even I mean, come on, gay frogs. He knows that you're that dumb that you'll believe anything that comes out of his mouth. So he can just make up and say anything that he wants. It's how the Orange Man became president. There were a lot of people who were just disillusioned with life in America. There were a lot of people who are struggling, a lot of people who just having a hard time paying bills and making it in society. And here comes this man who like makes all these promises, and he's sweet talking the dumber of us out there in society. Holy shit! A wild beautyfly? I mean, we already have a beautyfly, but damn, what are the odds? But yeah, see, I am one of those young people to where if I didn't have the right friends in my life, I would have followed people like him. Not Tate, the Twitter jackass. I wouldn't have known any better. Like, it goes back to what we were talking about yesterday. Like, I wasn't taught critical thinking skills when I was a young man. So I kind of just believe anything I'm told, which thankfully I've kind of gotten past that now. I know better. Life these days can be a little exhausting because you find yourself having to like constantly fact check everything everybody says. It's gotten to the point where we're doing it with each other in my friend group. I snapped at Tyler earlier in Discord because I was telling him something and he was trying to fact check it. And I was like, motherfucker, just believe me. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. You did mention that before. I haven't forgotten, I promise. I gotta figure out a way to make it work. I gotta figure out the logistics of how a Pokemon Go stream would work. I am gonna play around on my phone a little bit and try to figure that out. I haven't forgotten, don't worry. Unlike other games on the channel though, Pokemon Go is, it's not something that we can start like, here's the pilot episode. Here's me getting my starter Pokemon. Here's me starting out at level 1. At this point, I'm so many years into the game, I've got to figure out a creative way to do Pokemon Go content that people would want to watch, that wouldn't be really boring, which is honestly why I haven't done it up until this point. I haven't been able to figure out a way to do it decently where it's not tacky. And then of course lately I just don't really play Pokemon Go that much, so I'll figure it out though. I'll sit down and put some thought into it. One of the things that has always kind of stopped me from doing Pokemon Go in that way is the fact that I've always had really crappy phones in the past. The revered and Sinnoh are the Pokemon of time. Face Sinnoh's myth. Its truth needs investigation. Cyrus. Well, in theory, I wouldn't connect my computer and my phone to stream Pokemon Go. I would literally just do everything from my phone. You can record your phone though. There's plenty of apps. If your phone doesn't have a built-in like screen record system, you can get third-party apps out of the App Store that'll let you do that. And then I can just I could plug my phone up to my computer after the fact using a USB cable and just pull the video file off of it that way. Then I can do any editing or post, video stuff that I want to do before I throw it up. but streaming it is odd because exactly right there, what you just said, I was about to say, how am I going to do like face cam on top of doing Pokemon Go? When you see other YouTubers and streamers do that, they have money. I do not. So they can afford like the most recent iPhone, the most recent whatever Android phone that, because the last phone I had before this one, if you were recording, you could not swap back and forth between the front and the back camera while you were recording. You had to literally stop what you were doing, hit switch camera. But I think this phone does allow me to switch while recording. I'm actually going to take a look. Let me see. All right, video, record. I'm now recording you guys. Will it let me switch? No. See, I can't switch while recording. So if I'm recording my screen, can I do, I don't know. It's tricky. It's very tricky. And yeah, it's not something I've ever had the equipment to do. But if there's a demand for it, is it something you want to see, I'll try and put something together. No promises, obviously. Because at the end of the day, it could just be I don't have the right equipment for it. But and it's funny because I've been thinking about that lately too, as far as like Instagram and TikTok and that stuff is concerned. I've never gone live on any of those platforms. The only streaming that I've ever done is like this, just the gaming stuff on my computer or my Switch or whatever. You know, I've never tried doing a stream away from the house on my phone, and it might be time to enter that territory and try it out. The birth of Palkia, creator of parallel dimensions, alive yet not alive, rifts in space, who arrive in the same universe, the blessing of Palkia. I've heard some people talk about that once being a third inscription. I hope you guys are reading this while I'm doing all this jabbering, rambling. Rambling. Team Galactic members everywhere. You can use your webcam while streaming a game. I gotta try that later. I'll run some tests. We'll see what happens. Pokemon Go has always just kind of been something I enjoyed on my own. It's never something I honestly felt too compelled to ever record or stream or put up on YouTube. I think I did at some point have a couple of episodes on my YouTube channel of Pokemon Go. I think I've since deleted them because it's hard to make a series out of it, of a game like that. Cynthia, she's a really cool dancer. Cynthia, moving to the groove now. Who knows that reference? Bye, Cynthia. Okay. Let me see. We made a lot of progress today. Oh yeah, we caught Bibberel. Or Weasel, my bad. Weasel. We could raise this Weasel. Maybe. Could I make Weasel work? I guess I could try. No harm in trying. While it's on my mind, let's take a look at TMs and see where we stand. Bullet Seed, Rock Tomb, Stealth Rock. Weasel can learn Stealth Rock? Or Rock Tomb, I mean. We'll get rid of water sport. I can't ever see me using water sport. It's a waste of time. Water sport and the mud one were two moves that never made a lick of sense to me whatsoever. Who's honestly going to be trying to use a fire Pokemon against a water Pokemon? Why do I need to weaken the fire's power? I've never understood that nonsense. I never understood it. We got our Explorer kit. He's talking so much. Bicycle. 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 I want to ride my bicycle. Oh, that's right. He went to the thing and never came back, did he? Name Raider. We're not doing nicknames. That proved to be too much of a pain in the ass. You can't have my weasel for. I can catch my own Chatot later. No. No. Trainers Day. This program offers unique looks into the daily lives of trainers. We cover a variety of topics that affect and concern trainers. Let's examine one aspect of a trainer's day. Your wait is over. It's the Sinnoh Shopping Champ Corner. Today's shopper is Eric, who bought the item Pokeball. The quantity purchased, 11. Eric sure knows how to shop. It's just wonderful. Watch right there. See how the shopper's fingers dance? Notice how quickly Eric picks individual packs of Pokeballs. It's as if the shopper is intent on buying up every Pokeball there is in Sinnoh with those magical fingers. That sense of determination really shines through. I see, this Eric certainly deserves a lot of credit. I just realized there's two people talking in this exchange, my bad. Viewers, we hope you won't get shown up by Eric shopping. See you again. I'm working on my 1950s television host voice. It's hard to hit that transatlantic accent when you've never had it. I think the transatlantic accent is all but extinct at this point, because I only ever hear it in television and movies when they're trying to do a period piece. There are little remnants of it left over here and there in the Northeast, but I feel that died out with my grandmother's generation. That would have been the last generation to use the transatlantic accent. I did learn something fascinating the other day. Apparently English is kind of set to become the dominant global language, which that shocked me. I thought it would have been something like Chinese or something, you know, because obviously there are more Chinese people in the world than like English speaking people. So I thought, how the hell do I get to that Pokeball? But yeah, apparently no, wasn't the case at all. Oh. But it surprised me. I thought it would have been some other language. But no, it's English. Apparently English is the most spoken language on Earth. Which again, didn't know that. That caught me off guard. It will be unrecognizable on a long enough time scale, just naturally in general. But it will also be unrecognizable by the time I'm an old man, just because if English is slowly becoming the dominant language on Earth, then the more people who adopt it and speak it are going to like put their inflections on it and put their accents on it. So you end up with things like the Australian accent and the British accent and the American accent. We're all together collectively speaking English, but it's very different English. You know what I mean? It varies by region. So I kind of see it being a cyclical thing over a long enough time scale. It may be that English evolves, then de-evolves, then re-evolves, then de-evolves. But we are at a precipice here. It's the first time in human history where we've been in a really tight global society. I mean, we've had ship trading routes now for centuries. So we've kind of been global for a while, but not on the scale that we are today with airplanes, world travel, the internet, communications. Things are vastly different today than they've ever been in our history. So ideas, concepts, dialogues, languages, these things translate at a hyper lightning speed. So what you're going to start seeing is English. Everybody's going to be speaking English, but it's going to defeat the purpose because it's going to start sounding like different languages again. So you're just going in a circle. Because languages evolve over time based on isolated cultures. That's why we have multiple languages on Earth. That's how that works. So think about it like this. If everybody slowly starts losing their ancestors' tongue and pick up a more modern language, I believe that's a running issue in the native communities here in North America. Apparently, a lot of the youth are being very arrogant and they're not like showing any desire to learn from their elders so they can carry on traditions and pass things down. Obviously, I'm not part of that community. I couldn't tell you firsthand. I just tell you little snippets I read and see on the internet. I could be wrong, but to my understanding, that's what's happening. Younger people just don't give a shit to hear what the elders have to say, so they're not learning the ancient languages anymore to pass them down. And when that happens on a global scale with enough countries and enough peoples, you will end up with one unified language eventually, but different people will have different accents. So it will start to change and evolve / de-evolve again, and then you're going to end up with different languages all over again. So it's going to be a circle. 4.19. That's not bad. Me saying that's not bad, like that's not incredibly high. Oh, it's 4.19. I thought 4.0 was as high as you could go. I don't know nothing about that stuff. Ooh, a bachelor's degree in robotics. I do love robotics. Robotics are cool. All right. I need to figure out what the hell we're doing and where the hell we're going. I think the gym is our next target. Yep. All right, here's where we need to go next. To the gym. This gym is pretty cool. There's a giant clock-like flower in the middle of the gym that rotates, and it takes us to different trainers to fight. Oh, I chose the wrong Pokemon for this gym. Oh boy. Oh boy. Whoops. Sadly, the only thing I know about college is what TV and movies have taught me. See, now that's a cool backstory. That's how you end up with really good people in really good fields. People who are like passionate from a very young age. Because I've heard stories like that throughout my life, like, hey, this character made me become a doctor. This character made me become an actor. This character made me become a this, and this. You hear that from time to time, and it's always like a really moving, like a really good success story that makes you happy when you hear them too. There were the first, or the most notable one that jumps in my mind is the X-Files. The X-Files did create a handful of FBI agents throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, but it really created a lot of like women agents and women doctors and women scientists. I used to follow a few people on Twitter, a few women on Twitter who back in the day who said that they specifically are in the field they're in now because of the character of Dana Scully from the X-Files. If it weren't for her, they wouldn't be scientists or doctors. Oh, that hurts me. That hurts me hard. What's the X-Files hurts? I took both physical and psychic damage from that question. It was a sci-fi show from the 90s. Basically, you had two FBI agents. Each season would begin and start with aliens, and through the run of the season, each episode would be a monster of the week. They would encounter a new mystery to solve. The premise was that Fox Mulder, the guy agent, when he was younger, his sister was abducted by aliens. And the premise of the show, it takes you on this roller coaster ride of, are aliens real? Are they not real? Was it the government trying to make experiments? I lost my train of thought. I read fidget spinner and my brain shut down. It is, I don't know. You just have to look into it. The X-Files is one of my all-time favorite shows. It's in my top like 2 or 3. It's really good. Later seasons take a really hard dive though. You could honestly just skip seasons 8 and 9. They were there. Ooh, fidget spinners did have a very short shelf life though, didn't they? They came and went like that. All I did was blink and they were gone. And I have no idea what that second word you said is. Ba-doo. Weasel, weasel. Dun, 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 dun. See, what purpose does that serve? Oh, fire's power was weakened. Okay, so that does make more sense. It makes sense when a grass Pokemon uses it. It doesn't make any sense when a water Pokemon uses it. It's very confusing to me. Weasel! I want to leave Weasel out there and really try to grind it out, but she's just gonna get her clock cleaned. But yeah, going back to the X-Files, basically his sister was abducted when they were younger, when they were kids. There's no real definitive way for him to find out whether aliens are real and they did it. Was it a government conspiracy and they did it? You know, it was a mystery through the whole run of the show. But the X-Files refers to FBI files that have been buried, that they don't want anybody to pay attention to. They're unsolved mysteries, unsolved cases, some of them murder, some of them just mysteries, and they're all stored in the basement and labeled an X-Files. When it's a case that the FBI couldn't solve or didn't want to solve or just didn't have the time, money, energy, manpower to put into it. If it was bizarre, a lot of them dealt with the supernatural, or cults or things like that. It basically was just the dumping grounds in the basement. And Mulder grew up, like when his sister was abducted right in front of him, it affected him so profoundly that he studied as hard as any one human being could study in school. And he even went overseas, and he went to Oxford University, graduated as high as you possibly could graduate. Like he was an extremely intelligent man. And when he came to work for the FBI, he was trying to kind of work on finding his sister and what happened to her. Then he stumbled upon the X-Files in the basement. It was just a dumping grounds for UFO sightings and nonsense. And he devoted his life to it. And it caused everybody to kind of shit on him for it. Like his peers turned on him. Like his superiors turned on him. Everybody just calls him Spooky Mulder. He's the crackpot in the basement at the FBI headquarters in Washington that talks about aliens and UFOs. You know how it would be IRL. People would just like, there's the crazy man. But no, it was a really good show. See, I have no idea what that is. I know the word Lego, but I don't know what those other things. I don't know what those other words you said are. I'm sorry. That probably is one of those just after my time things. Like, I don't know. Hey, at least know what a fidget spinner is. I knew who C-3PO and R2-D2 were. I know those things. Oh, shit. Yep, we sent out an electric Pokemon in a grass gym. That would be why I don't know what it is. No, I'm paralyzed. Sometimes I worry about the staying power of Pokemon. Because Pokemon's insanely huge and popular right now. What about 50 years from now? If Gen Z has already lost complete interest in Pokemon, like, who comes after Z? Alpha? Who comes after Alpha? Are they even born yet? I lost track. All I know is Gen Z is under me and Alpha's under them. And after that, I have no idea who comes next. I don't think they're born yet. I don't know how all that works. But like, Pokemon came out. I don't remember the exact date for the US release of Pokemon, but it was like, in Japan it was 95. So I was 11 years old in 1995. So I was the target demographic for Pokemon when it first blew up globally. Now it's been almost 30 years later, and Pokemon is still running pretty strong. But how long is that gonna last? Because Gen Z, and I'm not saying all of Gen Z period, but we're just going statistically based on numbers. Most of Gen Z have a tablet in their hand or a cell phone. God damn it. Roselia just ended my whole career. Alright, you did this, Roselia. You brought it upon yourself. Alpha is like 8 years. Okay. My nephew is like, I don't have any kids. The only kid in my life is my nephew, and he's 11 or 12. So I guess that makes him, does that make him Alpha or does that make him Z? He's one of those two. He was born in 2011, I think. And he doesn't give two shits about Pokemon. He was super hooked on Minecraft, and I honestly don't really pay too much attention to what he does, so I don't know what all he plays. I just know that he was big on Minecraft. I know he has a Steam account. I know he plays stuff that way. You know, sometimes he will play. He has a Switch. His mom has a Switch, and every once in a while they might sit down and play Mario Kart together or something like that, but for the most part, my nephew will either be on his computer, on his tablet, or with that headset on his face, the VR headset. And I don't know what all he plays. I know that he went through a Sonic the Hedgehog phase. He has some little Sonic the Hedgehog toys in his room. I know that he likes Mario somewhat. I think they bought him a copy of Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. He played it a little bit and then never touched it again, so I don't think he really gives two shits about Pokemon. Z is 97 to 12. Alpha is 13 to... So he is at the absolute end of Z. So he's like he's an in-between. He's Z going into Alpha there. Yeah. If I think about it, I might ask him next time I see him, like, what games you play? What you into? I'm so tired. I think we are going to fight this gym and call it a day. I don't remember who all she's going to use. Eterna Gym Leader Gardenia. Let's go. How often do you actually see a gym leader using starter Pokemon? I can't think of anyone else who does. Just her. Wing attack. Ooh, super potion. Hey, at least she didn't use a full restore. Well, not that it would have mattered, but you know what I mean. Why is wing attack not close? Why is it not doing it? I also just noticed I need to do some reframing on the touch screen. I can see chat poking through at the very bottom. Cheer up. Oh yeah, Sunny Day is in play, so you're gonna change to Sunny Day form, or Sunny form, I should say. Oh, reflect was in play. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't paying that much attention. Not that that would have mattered, because wing attack is physical, right? Damn sunlight. It's really making her attack strong. At least I have one super potion. We're starting to get into that territory where I might start needing to buy some potions. We're really getting past that early game grindy, or not grindy, but like early game tutorial territory. That's kind of over. But now, oh, that's gonna help too. Time to shut it down. The cockiness of youth will never not be a thing, I'm telling you. And I get that way too, especially like with Pokemon Go. I have to keep myself in check. Like I have to make sure that I'm not a douchebag about it, because anytime that new people show up in my town to play Pokemon Go, it's always young people. And the last batch of young people that started playing Pokemon Go, their little group leader was like 22 years old, I think. So it's like, first of all, Pokemon's older than you, I'm older than you, and I've been playing Pokemon longer than you've been alive. So my brain tries to get a little gatekeepy, but I think gatekeeping is terrible and awful, and I shut that shit down in my brain fast. And I'm like, no, Eric, remember, it's just a game. People are just trying to enjoy themselves. Quit being an asshole. But it does bother me somewhat. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. It didn't, you know? Because it's like, why? Why go around town and take every single gym for yourself, you know? Because you're limited. You're only allowed 50 coins a day, and you can only get 50 coins after you've been in a gym for 8 hours. So anything beyond that is just like, well, look at me. My team's holding down this gym. It's all bragging rights. A lot of Pokemon Go gym stuff is like strictly bragging rights. Like, oh, my team's holding down the fort, you know, that kind of thing. So I also, as I've said in the past on the show, I'm not really good with competitive stuff. My monkey brain gets mad fast, and I don't deal well with competitive stuff. I'm very much a socialist at heart. I believe everybody should equally get their share. Fundamentally, that doesn't work for everything, obviously. Video games are meant to be competitive. Sometimes you get a single player game. But no, it's definitely a me problem. It's not a them problem. It's my fault. I'm the asshole here. But I do try my best to keep it in check, is what I'm saying. Because that was my first thought when the new people showed up, and like they were just, none of us could put in the gyms, none of us could get our coins, none of us were able to really play the game effectively, and it was just because a bunch of little young shits were running around pissing on all the corners, you know. I own this now. So I felt a little gatekeepy over that, you know. It's like 22. I've been playing Pokemon, to do the exact math, 2018 would have been 20 years. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I've been playing Pokemon for 24 years. Longer than they've been alive. But again, that's a me problem. That's me being an asshole. So I try to keep that shit in check. But, It's not without its agitation. It did eventually work itself out. Like I befriended the people. They're now part of the actual like local Pokemon group. The one or two that were like assholes that weren't going to conform and be part of the group, they kind of fell off and went their own way anyway. So now it all works out. I think I lost this gym fight. I think this Roserade has destroyed my world. Because I don't have the potions for this. That's probably for the best. I'm starting to get really tired. Like I said, I made the mistake of trying to sleep without that CPAP machine, so... I mean, I woke up after like 2 hours of constantly gasping for air, and I just plugged the machine back up, but I'm tired today and I have a headache. So I don't think I'm going to bother rematching her. I think what we're going to do is just next time when we come back in, then we'll bother doing a rematch. So she can have this one. We were ill prepared anyway. I forgot to go shopping. Yeah, I ate shit on that one. Hello. Not options. Save. Oh. I have a headache. I will say this too. Ever since you followed on Twitch, I have found myself talking more than ever. Got my bike ride in. Ooh, 48-hour mark. Oh, that's right. You're still fasting. I started a fast today. I'd have to sit down and figure out how many hours I'm in, because I had something to eat. I think it's going on 13 hours for me since I've eaten anything. I think I had, I don't remember the last meal I've had. It was sometime last night, but I did like have a banana sometime before bed. And I think I laid down around 6 a.m. ish. So we'll say about 12, 13 hours, somewhere in that, somewhere in there. Now we just got to make it the rest of the night. And then of course I won't eat while I'm asleep during the day tomorrow. So that'll be good for me. This is the bestie. This is Tyler. Speaking of numbers and years and all that kind of shit, I think we've been friends now for 30 years. 95 to 2025, 30 years. Oh, we're old. All right, like I said, we've been streaming for over an hour and a half at this point. I think I'm gonna call it. I would stick around and really do the rematch, but I'm just dead today. We'll fight her when we come back in. We'll have to strategize. We're definitely gonna have to buy some items, which I forgot to do before we fought her. So that's on me. Oh, I mean, yeah, it was technically 94, but I always just round up. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to try to stream every day until I can get caught up. I want to not have a brain fart this bad, for one. We're probably going to end up, we might play this again tomorrow. We might not. It depends. We're definitely going to end up taking a little tiny hiatus from Pokemon Platinum like we did with Soul Silver. But if people are watching this in a playlist on YouTube, that's not going to matter anyway, because it'll just roll from one video to another, and the IRL time gap will be practically invisible to them. I wanted to start Mass Effect today, but they screwed me on that. So I have been recently. Streaming lately has helped me like fast and stick to my diet and stay out of the kitchen. I've been working on playing 007 Everything or Nothing, and I fucking hate that game. I rage quit last night. Like, I'm recording and I'm not playing it on stream, so I sit down at night and record a little more and record a little more. I rage quit the shit out of that last night. It's awful. It is without a doubt the worst James Bond game I've ever played. I hate it. First of all, it's third person. I don't like third person shooters. I hate third person shooters. That's why I don't play Resident Evil. I like Resident Evil, but I can't play Resident Evil. I find it too frustrating. So that game's slow going. Everything or Nothing. I think it was the last GameCube James Bond game, or next to last. No, not from Russia with Love. Everything or Nothing was the Pierce Brosnan one. Honestly, the way it's designed, it's almost like a movie. Like I get what they were going for. They wanted to get away from things like GoldenEye and Twine and Tomorrow Never Dies, where they were first-person shooters. It's third person because they really wanted you to act like a spy. They wanted you to duck. They wanted you to stand behind walls and kind of lean around and shoot. There's a lot of that in the game. Of course, I'm an impatient son of a bitch, so I'm not just going to stand behind a wall and peek out, shoot. Peek out, shoot. I don't do that. The best you're going to get out of me is strafing side to side, like I do in Metroid Prime. I am extremely like on the offensive. I'm not a chest high walls, eye down and be, no. That's why I don't play Call of Duty. It's why I don't play Gears of War. I don't play games like that. I grew up playing first person shooters. You give me GoldenEye, you give me Doom, you give me Quake, you give me the gun, and I'm just going to run through blasting. Anyway, I started blasting. But yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, the next James Bond game you're doing, because I'm beyond fed up with this fucking game. You're doing the next one. All right. See you, folks.